Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Behind the Scenes of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. I'm your host, Jason JRock Houston, and as you guys know, every Wednesday night we roll out a brand spanking new little preview episode of Behind the Scenes. Now, Behind the Scenes, for anybody who doesn't know, is actually it's a spinoff show of our real big show, the Pop Culture Revolution, JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. And this week, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., when we roll out our show every week, Thursday morning, that's a great time to do it. Right one day before the weekend's getting ready to kick off. Well, this episode is going to be a pretty special one. I tell you guys, I am so excited. Okay, it's been a while since we did an episode, on a band or anything like that. And so the last time we did, talking about 50 years of Aerosmith, did a great two-part episode there. Now, what we're going to do with episode 36 is we are going to be talking about the new Judas Priest Best of collection. Now, I want to let you guys know right off the bat that, man, it got a crazy day now. And we'll get into some of that just because I'd love to let you know about some of the funny stuff that went on in my life today. But before we really get into that, in fact, it's been such a crazy day that I was sitting at my desk and I just remember, oh, wait a minute, it's Wednesday night. Got to do behind the scenes, to give everybody a little preview of what's coming up in episode number 36. Okay. Well, I will tell you first of all, when I heard about this best of collection, I thought, okay, we haven't done a Judas Priest episode, and that'd be a great group to kind of cover on our little pop culture show here. And then I heard that the band had a new best of collection. It was going to be released last Friday on the 19th, and so I ahead of time ordered the CD, so it'd be in my mailbox last Friday when I came home from work. And I had all weekend to live with the new CD, and I'm a diehard Judas Priest fan, so I've heard most of these songs. Now, again, over years, Judas Priest has put out some great best of collections, and this one kind of is a little different. It's not the typical standard best of, because you'd expect all the commercial radio hits and singles to be featured here. For the most part, they are, but Epic Records and Judas Priest, they wanted this to be more than just a kind of a typical best of. So what they did is they featured songs from throughout Judas Priest's entire 50-year career. And you get most of the hits you like. I mean, I'll give you some of the songs that are on the new best of. You get stuff like, of course, Living After Midnight, Breaking the Law. You've got Another Thing Coming, of course. These are all hits that you'd expect to find on a Judas Priest best of collection. But what you do not get, for example, you'd also think that on a best of collection, you get Metal Gods. That's nowhere to be found here. And part of the reason for that is, like I said, they wanted to make this a real kind of career spanning retrospective, if you will, best of collection, but they wanted to throw out music from throughout the band's entire 50 plus year career. When I say 50 plus year, I was amazed to learn that that 2026 marks, you're gonna fall over when I tell you guys this. Not just 50 years, but 57 years of Judas Priest going strong. And that's something to be said. Now, again, so why the hell would they leave something like Metal Gods off? Well, to maybe like include stuff like the Sentinel, or even something like Rockarola, title track off the band's debut album. And so that's not Rockarola. You wouldn't typically think it would be found on a Judas Priest best, but again, they went all the way back to the very first album. They're coming. They have songs like that from throughout the band's entire career. So that's what you get here. You even get some newer stuff like off the last couple Judas Priest studio albums. So and then you get something kind of like which you would be so surprised to find like Turbo Lover on the new Best of CD, but Turbo Lover is one of those tracks that like 50% of the Priest fans out there either love it or hate it. And that's because back in 1986, when it came out, it was so controversial because um, up until that point, no Judas Priest fan had ever imagined they'd hear keyboards on a Judas Priest album. It just was never heard of. But the band decided to get a little experimental. And again, about 50% of the fan base loves it, 50% hates it. It's one of those dividing songs, if you will. So again, because the episode on the Best of CD comes out tomorrow morning, so we're not going to talk about get too much and get too much in because tonight's episode here is just a little bit of a sneak preview of what to expect. Now, I will tell you guys, initially when I came up with the idea of doing a Judas Priest themed episode, initially it was just going to be on the Best of collection, but then I got thinking, okay, Judas Priest has been around 57 years, man. That's almost 60 years. Okay, not too shabby. Band's almost been around 6 decades. And so it's worth talking about Judas Priest a little more than just a best of collection. So I thought, okay, what else can we do? So again, it's going to be one of those episodes where initially just thought it was going to be a one-part episode talking about a best of collection. But what I decided to do, folks, is it'll be a part two of this episode next week. And no, there's not going to be part two talking about the new best of collection. We've already done that in part one. So what I want to do that I thought would be kind of fun and interesting is to look back on the 1986 trial where Judas Priest was sued by the parents of two Judas Priest fans that committed suicide, and they killed themselves apparently listening to the music of Judas Priest. And the parents tried, tragically, these young men were suffering and dealing with stuff and didn't get the help they needed. And so our hearts, go out to the parents who suffered, the loss of their sons, but they tried to hold Judas Priest liable. And thank God, the band was found not guilty. Could you imagine if they'd been found guilty? And so I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about how Judas Priest, they're really the true defenders of heavy metal, the heavy metal faith, if you will, defenders of the faith. They had a album come out in 1982, I believe it was Defenders of Faith, and of course they had no idea about the trial that would lie ahead 4 years later. But kind of interesting. And in fact, you guys, I've had such a crazy day that I just remembered tonight as I'm sitting at my desk, like I said, I had to do this episode, and I thought, oh, so I got on the computer, and I don't know what, but when I turned on the laptop computer tonight, I was on it just last night, worked fine. Took me a while to get it powered up. Couldn't figure out what was going on, but it's working now. So thank God, got it all working. Now a couple of things I thought you'd get kind of a kick out of. In regards to how my day has been going, I had a pretty good day, but didn't get off to a great start. I'll tell you why. Okay, so I get up in the morning about 6 o'clock, start getting ready for work. I don't have to be working till 9, but I leave my house about 7:30 because I got to drive to work, and it takes me a little bit of time and allows me to stop and get gas, whatever I got to do in the morning, on the way to work. And so while I leave my house, I said, I'm gonna eat a little something before I go to work. So go in the freezer, pull out like a chimichanga, put it in the microwave. Now, you're supposed to leave it in there for about a minute, which I usually do. But again, my brain is kind of going crazy, thinking of everything I got to do before I get ready for work. And I get on my desktop computer. I had a few things to check my emails that before I go to work, and I'm doing that. And then in the meantime, I forget to put the burrito in the microwave. And next thing I know, wife wakes up and she, what are you burning? I think, wait a minute. What could be burning? I had something in the microwave, but and then go find out, man. Open the microwave is smoking amazingly. All these hours later, it works and everything. But again, to continue the story, okay, I go in the kitchen, and again, I'm so into reading the emails, I'm not paying attention. I forgot about I had something in the microwave. Microwave amazingly works, but it was smoking when and I had to open all the windows, had to open the front door to air place out, and 10:30 at night, there's still a little bit of a burnt smell in the kitchen. It'll I'm told it'll go away in a few days, but it's not quite as apparent as it was when I left. So I predict by maybe tomorrow afternoon it'll be gone. But smells a little bit. But when I opened the microwave, man, that burrito was burnt to a crisp. Not only was it a burrito, but I mean it was dark black like the asphalt on the street. And if that wasn't bad enough, folks, okay, the 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 cover, the microwave cover you cover the food with when you're heating food up, that got liquefied, if you can believe it. It turned it just kind of melted and pitch black too. Um, so the day just got off to a great start. But okay, it taught me something. I'm like, okay, do one thing at a time, pay attention, stay focused. Uh, so things like this do not happen. Man, what a day! But it could have ended worse. So the house could have burnt down or something like that. Thank God it didn't come to that. Um, but I'm thinking my lucky stars all these hours later. To even still be here. What a day! What a way to start the day. Then then I'm having lunch today. I'm on my lunch break at work and stopped by the In and Out. Anybody knows the Southern California area? Stop at the Block of Orange, which is a outdoor shopping center, if you will, of all these different outlet stores. Well, they have an In and Out there, and so I usually stop by there one day a week during my lunch break, and I have lunch and hang out for a while, and I doing my paperwork, and as you can, In and Out gets pretty crazy. Even if any In and Out you go to, pretty much even just going through a drive-through could take you like 40 minutes long. Well, I'm having lunch with the coworker, and we finished our food, but I'm working on some of my paperwork. I had like 30 more minutes before I had to go back to work, so just kind of relaxing in the restaurant. And this guy comes up to me in the restaurant, and it's not just the restaurant. I mean, it is packed. Um, you couldn't find there wasn't one seat like available. Now there's a ton of seats outside, like on the patio area. This guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you need to get up so I can eat." He's like, "You're not gonna leave?" Well, I'm not ready to leave. I told him. I said, I'm working on some stuff here. I said, I don't have to be back at work for like 30 minutes. I said, I'm gonna chill out here. Uh, you can go sit outside. I told him, you go sit outside. Now, yeah, and again, I don't know how you guys feel about restaurant etiquette. What you think the proper thing here to do? Now, it would maybe been different if there was absolutely nowhere to sit. But he's coming up only to me and telling me that I have to leave. Um, he's going around kind of looking. I mean, I've been to the same restaurant myself when it's been like that. I never gone up to anybody and told them, "Hey, get up so I could sit down." What I've had to do in the past is, um, when it really is like that, you could either, there's plenty of places to sit outside, so you can't find a place to sit. He just didn't want to sit or not. Somebody didn't care if I did. Okay. The other thing is, didn't go up and tell anybody else they had to leave. So well, whatever. So just kind of a real a real crazy day. Now again, these things happen in life, and it's how you deal with it. But um, thank God the guy didn't get too crazy. He didn't. Hey, I'm gonna, hey man, it's gonna. it's gonna come to fighting, or I'm gonna make you leave. It didn't come to that though. But um, you know, I just thought, well, I'm not gonna let anybody tell me I gotta leave. I was here first. Um, and I don't want to go sit outside in the hot sun, but so that's kind of how my day was going. And the weekend is almost here. And that's another thing I want to let you guys know. So again, this was originally going to be episode 36 rolling out tomorrow at 8 a.m. It was originally just going to be a one-part episode on the new Best of Judas Priest album. Now, what I want to let you guys know about too is not only am I doing a part two of the episode on the 1986 Judas Priest trial, where Judas Priest became the true defenders of the heavy metal faith, if you will, and we're going to talk about that in detail. And what we're going to really get into part two of this is not just the trial, but how the media reacted it, how the band reacted to it. You got to remember too, in 1986, it was just like typical standard, you know, um, media. They didn't have the internet back then, and so the media, the way they covered things, were very, very different. So I thought that would be a fun aspect of this. Now, also, what's going to make part two of the episode so much fun, besides talking about the 1986 trial where Judas Priest was really kind of defending the heavy metal faith, I'm going to have a special guest come on. I love to welcome people on the show, and we've had guests on our show from time to time, and that's always been a lot of fun. Now, I'm not going to make the big reveal because I want you guys to really tune in next week because it's going to be a big part of a surprise. We are going to have a special guest, and here's what I can tell you. I can tell you that this is somebody I've interviewed several times in the past. He's a very successful musician in his own right. He's in more than one band, but all his bands and his projects are very popular. So he's somebody I've interviewed before, and the reason I chose him is I know, like myself, he is a diehard Judas Priest fan. In fact, in some of the past interviews we've done, he's talked about just what a huge Judas Priest fan he is, and also he's a huge Kiss fan as I am. So I don't know if that's helped kind of reveal who the special guest is. Um, I would love if you guys think you know who the special guest is to leave a comment when you watch this video. Let me know who you think the special guest is going to be. Now, when we do the behind the scenes next Wednesday, I will reveal the guest, but I want you guys to kind of have something to look forward to and think about. So thanks for tuning in to the latest episode of Behind the Scenes of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. In fact, it's such a crazy day, and I think I'm a little more tired than usual, folks. That when I got on the computer to do this episode tonight, I was in such a rush to do it that I put on the wrong background there, but it's all right. You know why? Because actually, this is behind the scenes of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. And JRock's Pop Culture Revolution is the main show we're promoting anyway. So maybe there's kind of a secret message there. Now, the fun part about this is that behind the scenes is actually the spin-off show of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. And part of the reason I created this behind the scenes show to begin with is because when my good friend Tom Collier invited me to start premiering JRock's Pop Culture Revolution over at the Fire Rock TV network, I thought, well, okay, so the show's going to premiere over there now. So we have to have something kind of in place on our YouTube channel to kind of replace the main show. So that's why we came up with the behind the scenes episode, just in case you wondered. And it's been a lot of fun because what we do typically here is we don't just talk about what's going to roll out Thursday morning. Like you see, I had a lot of fun kind of telling you how my day went today. And so from time to time we do stuff like that because we like to let you into our world, what's going on in our role here at JRock's Babylon. So thanks for watching our latest episode behind the scenes. Have a great day, and be sure you tune in tomorrow on the JRock Music Group YouTube channel, and you will see episode number 36 of JRock's Pop Culture Revolution. It's part one of our Judas Priest special, and part one, we're of course talking about the new best of Judas Priest. So tune in to that, and if you haven't already got the new best of collection, if you're a huge Judas Priest fan like me, I urge you to do so. And I'd like to hear what y'all think of the new best of collection by Judas Priest. Leave your thoughts in the comments section of our latest episode. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. in the morning. What a great way to kick off a Thursday, right? See you guys then. Bye for now.